perspective is everything. So I like to call it legacy wealth, because it's generational wealth, but it's also legacy wealth. It's something that's going to be under your legacy, leaving something for your generations behind you. That's a big part of your legacy as well. And when I look at it that way, it just puts that much more emphasis on the reason why I want to leave behind generational wealth. But yeah, like Cedric said, there's more than one way to leave behind generational wealth. It's not just by a big check of money. It's investing in stocks, getting land. Me and my wife are paying down our house right now that we got built a few years ago, and that's going to be something that we keep in our family. And that's considered leaving behind, a form of leaving behind generational wealth. Starting a business. I do have a program. I do have a children's book. Starting a business, something that you can pass down to your son, that's a form of generational wealth too. It's not always about leaving behind a treasure chest of money in the basement at your grandma's house. It's about having things that they can kind of continue what you started. Right. So leaving behind a business, a house, some land, some property, some stocks that you invested in. All of those are forms of, because last time we spoke about this, I brought up that life insurance is the easiest way to start accumulating generational wealth. And I still think that is one of the more simple ways to accumulate. It's a very good start. One of the easiest ways you can do to start accumulating generational wealth. But there's so many different ways, and we just mentioned 5 or 6 already just off of this conversation alone. And
but if
I
you
like
notice,
to tell people it's part of your legacy.
But if you notice, insurance is the simplest, quickest way to start, right? But yet, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. And it irks me so much to see how our people find it more, yes, Carol, I'm going to bring it up because that's my thing, find it more interested. They're more interested in getting the Louis Vuittons and the Michael Kors than sacrifice. I'm not knocking anybody for doing that, because I remember back in the day, I was a brand name queen too. But as you get older and you see what's going on, you got to like, okay, is this really important? Do I need 6 Louis Vuittons? Do I need 6 cars? You know, let's think about my grandkids, their kids. You understand? Why is it so hard for us?
Because we have to retrain our way of thinking. You know, we have been programmed to think that the best, when you go to our institutions of learning, right, you know, they tell us that you have to have the picket fence, right, or the White House, the picket fence. You know, you have to go to the best schools, you know, but they don't talk about, you know, this idea of investing when you're young. Some of the kids that I know, I'm quite sure, family that know about stock market and real estate, that their children are going to learn at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. But you're talking about inner city kids who mama or daddy or a guardian might be working 2 or 3 jobs and don't have that luxury of giving their hard-earned money to the stock market or real estate, because they barely can afford, you know, not everyone, but generally there's a good portion of people who struggle and can't make ends, or are struggling to make ends meet. The other thing, when you're talking about insurance, I just found out recently that there was people who've been doing it for a long time, is buying whole life insurance and using, taking a loan out on their policy to buy real estate, right? And then they get that passive and aggressive money coming back to them. They can pay that off. So
there's a difference between the whole life and the term. Stick a pin right there. Just want everybody to know who is listening and hearing, because I know we can be heard now. We're on live on Facebook. So you can check us out. We're live on Facebook. So y'all make sure y'all looking cute up there.
I have one more thing I was going to end on the note there, is that when I was talking about the whole life and taking policy, part of your policy, I mean, you get anywhere from 100,000 to, up to $1 million that, white folks have been getting it for eons, and we just, some of us may know it, but there's one thing that I realize is that, for example, I'll say this so that your audience can know this. If you were to take $5, this is $5 a day times 365 days in a year is $1,825, right? Yeah. If you were to put that same $1,825 in the bank right now, and you was to let that grow for 1% for 20 years, you can do the math on this. You will have $35,000 to $36,000 in 20 years, right? If you took that same $1,825 and you was to put it into the stock market at 35% or even 25%, let's say 25%, in 20 years, guess you would have $2 million. Now, would I want 36,000 or would I want $2 million? I think I would go with the 2 million. The problem is that we're not learning these skills at an early stage of learning, and by the time we learn it, we're 49 like me,
Like,
and saying, you know, it's just a
yeah,
messed up thing that, you know, we have
that's
to.
why I'm trying to teach my kids from now, because I didn't have that education growing up, you know.
Mhm.
So
Part
we
of the
need,
problem too is, you know, coming from the Black and brown community myself, a lot of times a lot of us are looking for instant gratification, right? So we want the money now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to wait 10 years down the road. We don't want to wait 20 years. So it's like we want that money now because of whatever we think that we have to get this now today. And we don't understand that if we let that money work for us, you know, if we live another few years or whatever, you know, that money will be working for us down the road, you know, and that comes with the education that we're trying to talk about today. So David, I want to bring you in because you haven't had a chance to speak as yet.
oh yeah, sorry.
So for you, I wanted you to just, and I know that you run a credit company and you taught us about credit health and how to improve your credit. So that ties in with us right here in teaching how to manage your credit so that you're not destroying your financial status and your financial situation. So for you, in your everyday, what would you tell folks about generational wealth, please?
I think it's super important. And I'm agreeing on everything Cedric's saying, what Brother Anthony said. I look at it like this. Follow along with this real quick. It's Memorial Day. What's everyone doing?
Barbecuing.
Barbecuing, right?
Right.
Right. It's 4th of July. What's everyone doing?
Barbecuing.
Barbecuing, right? There's something happening that day, right? There's tradition.
Yeah.
Generational wealth, period. Educating yourself has to be tradition the same exact way, right? That's how you pass down one thing to the other. Like most of our kids are gonna know you're gonna barbecue on those days, hands down. What they don't know is the other part of it. As far as generational wealth goes, I think the biggest part that's missing is the why you're gonna do it and the how you're gonna do it. You can do stocks, you can do real estate, whatever, everything else, but how do you get it? How do you secure it? And how do you educate your kids to make sure that it perpetuates generations down the line? Let's just say you made $1 million and that was passed on to your kids. How do they take that and make it 10 million or 100 million? Because with inflation and everything else, $1 million today isn't what $1 million was 40, 50 years ago, right? Back then, it was worth a lot more. Now $1 million, I hate to say it, it's really not that much money.
Yeah, true.
Right? As far as the instant gratification, like Carol said, yeah, you want to feel a sense of worth immediately, but forgetting that we have a long time to live. If you think you're going to die next week, sure, live your life to the fullest, buy whatever you want to buy, right? You have a little bit amount of time. But stats show that we're going to live to our 80s and 90s. You have a long time to go. Why are you playing the short game?
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially like Howard said, Black and brown communities, that's where the focus needs to be. The longevity versus let me floss right now, let me look cool, let me leave this car I can't pay for, live with my mama but not give her rent money because she still don't own her house.
Yeah.
Right? So the possession part of it, like owning something, like the land and the home, that's a big piece. You got to own it. Right? My kids, I tell them, whatever profession you want to be in, you're going to own that. My son's going to be a dentist. He's going to own his office. My daughter's going to be a nurse. She's going to own her office. You don't work for anybody else.
Yep.
Exactly.
Before I got into credit, guys, when I started this company, I was in the life insurance business for 15 years. and I've made a lot of people a lot of money. It is the cheapest, easiest way to pass wealth. Just like the whole life insurance, there's another program called an IUL. It's a Index Universal Life program, and it kills a whole life policy. My kids had it since they were young. When they retire, they will probably, I think the number is like 600,000 a year for the rest of their life after when they turn 60. It's those
and then 600,000 when they get to 60?
Yeah.
That's gonna be nothing then.
Yeah, but it's gonna be for the rest of their life.
But at least, no, I meant that they have something, which is good.
It's only $100 a month right now.
Yeah. That is how that old money, if you notice, old money in America, that's how like the Rockefellers, like money, I mean the Hiltons, their money is like,
well, in see what we're talking about. Yeah, they may be old money, but how does it get passed down constantly?
No, but what I'm saying is that they've been passing it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the Hiltons, they never worked a day in their life for anybody.
Yeah. But they're passing it down, and that's the kicker that I want to keep our finger on that.
So here's the thing on that one, Carol. Understanding how to do that. It's great that we can build a business, get some real estate, make some money. People need to learn about wills, what a living will looks like, what a trust looks like, putting all that into a legal form, right? And it might sound complicated, but believe it or not, in most states, now in Florida, it's free. You get a free will through the state, a living will. You just fill out the form, go get it notarized, take it down to the courthouse. It's ironclad. What a lot of people don't know is what probate is. When you lose 2/3 of your possessions, right? It's called a death tax. 66% between court cases, attorney fees, and everything else. What was yours, 1/3 of it goes to your next of kin.
Wow.
Wow.
So
that again, David,
if someone dies without a will.
Hang on, Reese. That's an important point, and I want to make sure if anybody is just joining us right now, and you're just coming in, you can hear that, because I love when I learn something that I didn't know about. I want everybody else who didn't know to also learn these statistics. So if you could repeat that for me, make sure everybody hear that.
Okay. So probate, what probate is when somebody passes away and wealth of something like money, bank account, stocks, home has to be transferred down to a generation. The tax on it between court cases and attorney fees is about 2/3 of the worth of whatever it is. A simple thing that can remove all of that is a will. If you own a home, make sure you have somebody else's name on it. That way they have ownership of it as well. Same thing with vehicles. Like if you do your title, you can do an and/or title. These things would not bind up anything at all in the courts. If you have multiple children, definitely have a will.
Oh yeah. They fight when there is a will, much less if there isn't a will.
Right. The second you start a business, LLC, S Corp, anything like that, put that in your will. It could be worth 0 today. But who knows, a year from now, when you get busy and everything is working out great, you're gonna forget to do it. So the second you start doing something, implement it like it's gonna be this big thing. All of the companies that I owned and have owned, my kids have been a huge part of. Most of it was named after them. The parent company is their name. So if something would happen to me today, they have full ownership of everything.
I like that you said that, because a lot of times when we start something, we may think it's just something small, but if you put it's in your name, and it's your hard-earned labor, right? And time that you've put into something. So we don't think about, we're not making any money right now, it's just small. And who knows, it might, go out of business later, but you never know, it might not. So we don't think about that in the beginning, and then later on we get busy and it gets complicated, and then we never get back around to doing it, and something, heaven forbid, happens to us. And then what? So I like that you said that. What are some of the ways, let's touch on that again. What are some of the ways that you could actually make this generational wealth effective? And one of the things you just mentioned is, one, create a will, people.
Amen.
Create a will, make sure it's in there. I'm gonna mention this, and you know, we watch a lot of like I forget it, but I'm gonna say Medea right now. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Some Medea movies and stuff, and we can see when the people at the funerals and everybody is fighting over the money that mama left or whatever, because mama did not leave a will.
Yep.
Right? So now everybody's fighting and they're bickering and this and that. While if there was something, it could be, you know, and of course you go and you get an expert to help you to do that, you know, to make sure it's properly done.
I
But
agree
that's
with
one
that.
of the
A
ways.
small investment into professional help goes a long way.
Amen.
Whether it's in taxes, investments, whatever it is, pay the small fee. It's cheaper than learning it later on.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I got to tell you, Carol and VC, that through this pandemic, if it wasn't this pandemic happening right now, we were quarantined, I wouldn't have pivoted the way that I pivoted in terms of investing in the stock market. I just recently changed my profile. I just changed back in July. I would have been going to the casino, spending my money, you know, $1,500 every week in the casino, right? That was before the pandemic, right? But when this pandemic happened, it you know, casinos were closed, right? You had to go somewhere with your money.
Yep.
And you know, I don't go shopping too often, but you know, I do buy stuff online. And it made me think about, I saw this clip from Boyce Watkins. I'm throwing some resources out there. Boyce Watkins, those of you who are listening, he is a economist out there, and he is someone who knows his business when it comes to finance and stock market. And I've known Boyce Watkins for over 10 years, and he used to always talk about, you know, the stock market, but he was speaking Greek to me because I didn't grow up knowing about no stock market. And with someone with tight pockets the way that, well, besides the casino, it wasn't too tight there, but if I had been more seasoned in understanding at a younger age, I would not have made that many mistakes in my own financial literacy understandings, right? I would have said $15,000 when I look at my taxes of how much I wasted in the casino for the whole year. That could have been $10,000 I could have invested in the real estate. So now I am pivoting because that this quarantine is a blessing in disguise. I'm gonna say that because
sure is.
for those of us who have been silent and really reevaluating how much they have wasted time, in that time, I looked at my 401k, my TIF-CREF. After I started my stock market back in June, I went to my TIF-CREF, had my meeting with, and those of you who don't know, that's an academic, it's a 401 academic portfolio. And I changed my portfolio from a basic plan, which they gave me when I first started. This is something that, if you don't notice, y'all, you have plans out there. If someone isn't telling you or feeding you to, they expect that you know because you're in academia or you're a professional. But I didn't know that the basic plan is just, they take a little bit out of a percentage out of the what I make, and they stick it into the basic plan, which is a low risk.
That was me.
I mean, low risk plan in the stock market. I mean, you don't make no money.
Yep.
So you're pretty much making pennies. So when I went to the TIF-CREF representative, and he broke this down to me, but I had already been educated because I had just started following and doing stuff with Boyce, that by the time I got to him and he started talking the language, I knew the language and said to him, let's move my portfolio out of the basic to the more advanced,
Aggressive.
right? The more advanced. No, well, I went advanced because aggressive, you know, I wasn't ready for aggressive, but I'm in the middle. I'm in the right pocket. And let me tell you what happened, Reese, Carol, Brother Anthony, and David. Be real quick, I'll be shortening this up. When I changed my portfolio, right, to the advanced, he said the representative said, now in 6 months, you're going to see a dramatic change in your portfolio, right? So before I signed up, I was only getting $215 in my from stocks, right? When I changed my portfolio from July 2nd to September, to my birthday, I had already gained $8,000 in my portfolio.
Wow.
And I'm gonna say this to your listeners because when I asked the question of what is this advanced what is this movement from basic to advanced, more advanced portfolio going to provide me in the stocks that I am buying? And he says, oh, I'm glad you asked that question. See, if I didn't ask that question, I just would have been parking myself there without having no education on where my money is going to. He said, well, if you go to T. Rowe Price, and he sold me the platform, and he go to holdings, right? Over 100 companies that my money is getting, Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, all these companies now that my money coming from the basic now going to the good stuff. So what I'm saying to your listeners is that don't sit thinking that someone's going to take care of you for you. You got to get out there and you got to stomp the ground and find out how you can move your space of where you are into better landings for you, your people who are coming behind you. And not so much when you die, because yeah, we're going to die, but when you retire, you want to live good and you want to have passive aggressive money coming to you without worrying if I got to work at Walmart or work at the, UPS, or, you don't want to be breaking your back at, 65, 70 years old. You want to be able to go to Jamaica or to, Florida, or go to, well, Florida's, I always like to say Florida because I haven't been to Miami yet. So
what? I don't think Miami can handle you yet, Cedric.
I just want to go to Miami, I just hear so many, wonderful things about Miami. So I just wanted to share that.
But you know what is so funny? I know I'm just recently met this lady. She's 80 years old, and she is one of those hot 80-year-old, petite, not married, don't have any kids. She just moved from California, and she sold her home. She bought a 7-bedroom home, okay, in Georgia, and she's living off of her income or whatever, she's chilling 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
That's what she bought her house cash. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You don't want to work until 80 years old, as you said, in Walmart or Publix, one of the, you're doing that because you can't afford. So if we start from now, because, we can get there.
And Reese, I want to say something really quick. I don't want to put a negative on people who retire and work at Walmart. It's a job, right?
Yeah.
However, and I understand it's a job, but it's unfortunate that some of us don't get the learning early enough to where we can make an adjustment. So that way, if we choose we want to work at Walmart versus I have to work
choice.
There.
Right.
Choice.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said it's a choice.
Oh yeah.
Some of them is not a choice. Some of them have to. And I really feel for them because they should be home and enjoying, the last years of their life.
And I did want to add on, piggyback off of, what kind of keeps us back and why we struggle at this. Of course, number one is the instant gratification. I feel like we might be getting played because we're putting money into something that's not exactly tangible at the moment. Like we can't put our hands on it. Yeah. So, a lot of us black folks, feel like we're getting played. I'm dropping money every month into something that I'm never going to really see. It just makes us feel some type of way. And I really think that a lot of it starts with education, because not only is it instant gratification holding us back, it's also intimidation. When we sit there and have these conversations, all the key terms that we hear, the life insurance, the policies, this or that, it can be really intimidating if you don't know what these words and what they mean and what the purpose of it is. It feels like a bunch of jibber jabber, you know what I mean? So, and then a lot of us learn it as adults. Yeah. And if we start as kids, they'll be used to hearing these words and these philosophies as they grow. So it wouldn't be intimidating to them. So that's why I feel like it's really, really important to start teaching this as our kids, because they're not going to learn it in school.
Right.
So of course we're going to have to start having community programs, seminars. And I think we need to start doing that very early, because once you become an adult, these things can be very intimidating. Part of my program, I teach kids how to do this, how to do that. And the purpose of that, because I don't want them to become adults and, how to play catch up with learning some of the skills they could have learned a long time ago. Same with this subject right here. I'm teaching the kid how to work with fire as a kid and use a charcoal grill so he doesn't become intimidated when he gets older. Same with this topic. You want to teach these kids how to build finances, how to build their financial literacy at a young age. So when they become an adult, they're not so intimidated and feel so lost and left behind.
Maybe that's a good thing that we should strive to implement that program in the schools at an early age, as you said. That would be a great idea.
You know,
either the schools, it's going to take community leaders.
Oh yes.
You know, community pillars to kind of start having these seminars in the community. There's a lot of people in my city who like to put together events to teach the youth, even adults, to kind of teach them things so they don't feel so intimidated. But I think intimidation, we don't hear it a lot. We hear instant gratification, but I think intimidation is one of the biggest things that holds us back. Because once we feel intimidated by something, we're gonna go ahead and just find something else. We're not even gonna mess with it, right?
It's true. Yeah, we're so scared of it. We're intimidated, but a lot of times if we don't have the information, we don't know where to look. And then if we don't know where to look, we're just so scared that we don't even try. You know, we just think, and when we go about our way. But you hit the nail on the head, and I really like that point. And I want to jump in a little bit more to talk about that, right? It starts from teaching our children, okay? Because it's great to say, yeah, set up a trust and set up a this and set up custodial, accounts for our kids and this and that. But what we're talking about, the fundamental thing of just education, right? We can all do that. And we all have to take a little time. What I want to talk about is educating our kids. For everybody who's a parent, if you have kids, you start educating them, right? So they learn. Reese, you mentioned before about, which family did you mention? I forget which family, Reese.
The Rockefeller.
The Rockefellers or whatever.
And the Hiltons.
Money and the Hiltons and this and that. But they're passing down knowledge to the children. And it doesn't only mean, and I want to remind our audiences again, and we're getting comments and stuff, but I want to remind you guys, we're not just talking about money, right? So generational wealth is just education. When you learn something, nobody can take it away from you. That knowledge is here and it is there forever. That's also wealth, right? Learn about it. We teach our children, even right now with my kid. She's 12 years old. But I'm teaching her about financial management, how to be responsible with money. What are some of the things that you should do? Don't just get the money and then run off. And of course, they're kids. They're going to want to buy toys and all of this, good stuff. But you've got to teach them. And when we go shopping and stuff, I teach her how to compare prices. So you're not just throwing money at things, you're comparing, right? You have to be smart about what you're doing. And then eventually you teach them about these other things. But we have, as parents, we have to teach our children how to be financially responsible and don't just go out, right, Reese, and go buy the Birkin bag and show your kids that I'm gonna buy the Birkin bag.
Yep.
So you can run around as a little kid.
Buy the Birkin bag, and then when you come home, the lights are off.
The Telfar bag now. Yeah, you know it.
Yeah. Or the big eviction sign is on there with the Birkin bag, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Because it's like, what are you teaching the children when
yes.
you're doing that?
But what I teach my kids, okay, if you get $1, you can put 50 cents to save, and you put your 50 cents to buy what you want to buy. So you get the best. You can treat yourself,
right?
But save a little something, right?
I want to jump in.
Piggyback off and put it in a more broader scale. Was that? Imagine accumulating all this fortune and wealth to pass down to your children. That would be great, right? But if they have no education on what to do with it, what good is it going to be if I leave down a couple $1 million to my children? But
it's going to
exactly.
And then that means that it's going to stop right there. My grandchildren are probably never going to see it if I never really train and educate my children, what to do with it when I do leave, and I do leave them behind. What are you going to do with it? Are my children going to get to see a piece of it, or are you just going to blow it?
So perfect example.
It's not just money. Education is wealth.
Because
education is wealth.
Look at this. You said you hit it. Look at the celebrities when they grew up in the projects, right? And as soon as they hit that money with the sports or the rapper or whatever, they have 6 cars. You can't only drive 1 car. So, right? Yeah. They have, I'm flying to Paris because I have to eat that, whatever. And they go and hop on there. But guess what? If they had that education from home, when they made it to wherever they made, they would have known how to spend it, right? They would have. I remember what's his name? T.O. Owens, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Terrell Owens, man, he had money and everything, and now he trying to save his mother's house. Yeah. I remember I'm like, you had money, you should be buying that catch or whatever. She shouldn't have to be worried about her house being foreclosed. Because you know what it was like growing up, but it's all about education. Yeah. It's all about education.
Definitely. And David, I know you wanted to jump in and say something. You had a point you wanted to make.
Yeah. Don't spend 50% and save 50%. You're missing a huge component, the investment part. I would say invest 30, save 50, spend 20.
Spend one?
I like that. Say that again. I'm gonna write that down.
Yep. So you want to invest 30, save 50, spend 20.
Okay.
If you can't make ends meet that way, either you need a second job or lower the way you're spending money. Maybe you need a smaller apartment, smaller house. You don't need that Mercedes and you get a Toyota.
See, that's why you're on the show, David. I tell you, man. Because you just bust my little 50-50 here. I thought I was giving like
I know.
Money says perfect in the bank. Your money's
I agree. We hear so much about saving, but we don't hear about investing. I mean, saving is good, but it's not all about saving. It's all about making money work for you as well.
It has to work.
It has to work. That's the whole unfortunate part about it, is that, we we got all of these incredible people who, who notice information, who are not in our communities most times, and especially communities of color, where these kids, they need to learn this like from 5 years old. I think you probably have to start at 3 because the prison, they set the prison design up to set them up to be failures by the age of 5, and by the time they're 7, they're in and out of the judicial the system. And by the time they're 13, it's just not it's not
done deal.
Yeah, it's not the situation that we want our kids to be in. When the time they get 21, they got a rap sheet, So I think by the time I'm 21, I want my rap sheet to be I got investment, and I could pay my own college tuition. You know what I'm saying? By the time I'm 21, I can pay it off, and I'm done with that. I can go to David and say, hey, look, let me check out my credit, get my credit together. And my credit should be tight by the time I'm 21. But the thing is
talk about that real quick. So, Carol, you said your daughter's 12?
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to put her as an authorized user on one of your credit cards. Right? By the time she turns 18, she starts with an 840 credit score.
Oh, really?
Wow. That's dope.
On her 18th birthday, she could walk to any dealership and pick up a car.
That's dope.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Even better, by the time she is 21, maybe even 20, she had 2 years of work history, she can buy a house.
Wow. But she doesn't have to know she's an authorized user, right?
Nope.
Okay, good.
You remember that's what we learned the other day?
She is not getting my
We learned that the other day.
Don't use a lot. Just make sure she's just on it. It's not a card you're not maxing out, using more than 10% on.
Thank you for telling me that.
I should. Yeah, that's hard.
I wanted to share just a little quickly, is that part of the things we do with Know the Ledge Academy is these young professionals that I have who are in their early 30s, and Mookie is in his late 20s. But this is what I'm giving them, because when I was in my mid 20s, if someone had gave me this information and I really like stuck with me, I think it would have changed my life and how I would have pivoted then. So I'm actually sharing the information that I'm learning now and giving it to them and challenging them. And the men I'm challenging even more, because the sisters, they on it. They already started their little Robin Hood and their
I was gonna ask you about that. Those little apps that's coming out with these investment. Listen, when I was in corporate and I was in 401k plan, listen, put me at the basic where it just give me my little money at the end of the year and I'm good.
Well,
I'm like, I still don't understand about stock. There's another one, Robinhood and the
Weeble,
Acorn.
not Acorn, the one that everybody's
Coinbase.
no,
Coinbase?
but I remember it. It starts with a V.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's the cash apps that people can
I
use
don't
their
know, but
cash apps.
everybody's into this
Yeah.
stock thing, and I'm not. You know,
it's not as hard. It's not as hard as you think. I mean, you figure if you had someone told me this a long time ago, and David and Brother Anthony and Carol, you probably heard this before. You can buy a coffee for $5, probably about $5. You can take that same $5 and invest it into.
Cedric, you're really talking about me?
Yes, I'm talking about you. I got you
Yes.
covered. I learned.
You're really
I
talking
learned
about my Starbucks?
Yes,
Really?
yes,
It's a culture, okay?
yes. And you
I
can
know
own,
it's overpriced,
and guess
but
what?
I can't help it.
You can own a part of Starbucks for $5. You hear me? $5.
I
You can
know.
own a part of Starbucks.
I know it's
what's the other one?
overpriced. I know.
You know, it's not so much as overpriced. It's just that you don't know what resources are available. And so let's say, for example, if you was to download on your phone Robinhood, right?
Right.
And you open up an account with Robinhood, you can put $5, as much as $5 down on Starbucks. And guess what? You own a fractional. You don't own. That's the thing. So let's say if this was a stock, it'd take a little piece of that off to be a fractional part that you own for $5, right? That's a fractional piece of it. Until you're able to pay it for full stock or full share, you only own like a little small part, but you still are getting some dividend. You're getting some portion of percentages in dividend, but it's not as big as a person who owns a full stock.
Because I tried this on Cash App, that Bitcoin or whatever, and I put $10 just to see. I see keep going up, going down, going because
just, not to cut you, but I just got one of our listeners are asking this question. How do they do that? Right? Let's say, what's the question here for like Amazon or Apple or something like that? How would they go about doing that?
So if they wanted to purchase a share of Apple, there's a number of brokerage that you can do the online brokerage, which that's where everyone is going. You got TD Ameritrade, you got Merrill, you have E-Trade. I use TD, right. I use TD Ameritrade because that's what I came into. And it's most of the platforms are the same. You know, you got to go with what works for you. So you can download or you can go on to your computer and open up TD Ameritrade or any of those, and you can register. And once you register and add your bank account, this is the part that people struggle with, adding their bank account, right? And Social Security and all that stuff. But these are safe spaces that can provide you educational suites that you can learn how to buy your first stock. So you asked about how to buy Amazon or Apple. Well, Apple, I think their shares are probably $140 something, right? And if you took that same $5, and I'm gonna share with you what Boyce Watkins shared with me, you took a $5 savings for 7 days. That's $35, right? $35 in 7 days, right? Times 2, that's $70, right? Times 4, that's $140 for the month. You could take that $140 and put it into an Apple stock. You have one stock that you have purchased. And if you did that every month, you will have 12 shares. Well, if the stocks go up and down, you can catch it if you have if you purchase a stock or a share in a company. If this is a company that has long money, like Apple have long money, that means that they have a high percentage of investors. They're going to give a certain percentage of dividends every quarter. So you have 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter, 4. Every quarter there is a what they consider a dividend that some companies pay out to their investors. So if you have a purchase every month a share in Apple, at the end of the year you're going to see that you have gained, because it's not so much that you're losing. You have to hold on and know that share is growing because it has history. Now, if you're buying a startup company that don't have no history, you can't really analyze through the charts you know, and I'm learning the chart. It's not as hard. People think it's hard, but I look at it like this. Amazon is $3,000+ to buy a share in Amazon. Most people can't afford to buy a $3,000. That, you know, that's a down payment on a car or house sometimes, you know, or renting or something, right? But you can take $1,000 or $500 or $100 inside of Robinhood and buy a fractional piece of Amazon for $100. So that's what I did. Is I took $100 and I took that in my Robinhood account and I put it on Amazon for the beginning of the year. And I did the same thing with Tesla, which is a car company, and the same thing with Apple. And I've made, and I'll just say with Amazon, I've made $5 already, but it can go higher, then it can go lower, but it fluctuates because of the market. So you just have to know that the company that you're investing in, you do your due diligence, find out what the company is about, who the CEOs. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty fun. Because when you see you're making money, you get excited. But you know you're gonna lose money, but you just have to know that the benefit is that you at the end, if you invest in the long haul, if you're in it for the marathon, you're gonna come out ahead versus someone who's like,
do that for your children too, right? You can purchase for your kids.
Yep.
If you want to make sure, and especially if they're young, so that can go with them until they get older, and before you know it,
right, exactly,
you know,
that's a good
money.
point.
Don't have money to actually, let's say, do a savings account which is yielding no interest or something. You put the money there for your children and it will grow with them as they get older, and ta-da,
and
another
thing that I found out too is that they have this thing you can look up. I'll tell your listeners, if you look up online 20 things that you can invest $500 in or $1,000 in, they'll show you all the different things. I mean, you have USA Today. They have a viable news marketplace articles that will share with you where you can put $500 in. Now, I saw one of those articles 2 years ago, and one of the things that it had in there at the beginning of the year, 2018, it said Fundrise, right? And Fundrise is a crowdfunding for real estate, like a REIT. It's a REIT, so it's a real estate it's a real estate. I can't remember what the E was, but it's real estate investment trust, REIT. I put $500 in Fundrise for my birthday last year, and it's a 5-year game, you know. But I had 33 properties across this country that I am an investor in, and now that I added another 500, I have 72 properties, and I'm not talking, these are multifamily properties, corporate entities. So within 5 years, it might be $600, it might be $300, but I'm growing because people are in it for the long run. Is that I'm passing on to someone that's going to carry it and keep it going. That's what generational wealth
Exactly. Now that's the key. Right now, you may not have made $10 million from investing in this thing, but over time, it will grow, it will build. And especially if you're trying to leave a legacy or something for your children, that's what it's there for, people. And that's what we're talking about today. Generational wealth is something that you're passing on. And one of the key things I want to mention too is, you know, going back to the point of working at Walmart or something until you're a certain age, if you're older, sometimes the key is to take care of your financial situation first, then, right? And then you make sure that you have some money that you can put into something for your children, or, you know, that they can grow with, you know, but make sure that you're in your situation first, whatever that is.
You know what I was looking when I was doing this, preparing for the show, I was looking to see if there were any Black or brown people that had old money, you know, and I could they refer to Ebony, the owner of Ebony and Jet magazine, the Johnsons, which is not really old money because it was like what, 1970. But you really don't see a lot of Black people that had old money. Maybe the only person I could think of offhand is Madame C.J. Walker,
Yes, she
the
was.
the first self-made millionaire.
Yeah.
Because I think her stuff is still going on now. That's the only person of color that I can think of that has old money. Because not even Oprah is old money.
No.
Yeah, well, we, not to go off on a tangent in talking about that, but I think we know why.
No, yeah. I mean, it just,
so we did not have those opportunities, hundreds of years ago or whatever. So it's very new. But what we're trying to do today is teach people based on what even, Cedric and David and Brother Anthony was just talking about, is teaching you, okay, so we didn't have it before, but doesn't mean that we can't do it going forward, right? We're talking about the fundamental, the little steps that we can take starting now, right? If you have kids now, this is what you do now. You educate your children and you start and you teach them how to invest, even if it's $5. That's what we're talking about right now. But don't expect the instant gratification, like you invest $5 today and tomorrow you go back and check your account and all of a sudden you got $1 million, because that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, you know what's funny, Carol? Some of these fundamentals we've actually been practicing for years, but we haven't been using it properly. How many of us how many of us have been through this situation or know somebody who's been in this situation where they grow up and they realize that their mom had their name on the light bill since they was a kid, or they're, I didn't know that, I didn't know my mom put my name on the credit card back, and they didn't use it properly though. So when they became adults, instead of leaving behind wealth, they left behind debt.
Yeah,
so
and that's so messed up.
But not properly.
Yeah, yes, that's messed up right there, I think.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole.
Oh, that's a whole different show.
So we have used some of these fundamentals, just not properly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about it. Like we know how we can benefit off of doing these things. Like David said, putting your child on the credit, but we've been doing it the wrong way. But we've been doing it the wrong way.
So we need to understand how to do this responsibly, right, Brother Anthony, to your point. Right. Do this responsibly, people. And I always hate that, a lot of I've seen it before. And just because you have kids and you put their name, like, let's say, like you just said, on your light bill or something, you're destroying your children. And that's just not fair to them. If you're going to...
And they don't find that out until they're ready to do a major purchase.
Till later on, when they're trying to go to school or trying to do something,
buy a house, they'll be like, "Oh, but you pay." Yeah,
they'll have a judgment. They'll have a judgment against their name because they probably put the name on something and the parents couldn't keep up with it. That caused it to go to collections. That caused it to have a judgment.
Security number for something, secretive and stuff, because they messed up their credit, so now they're using their children.
That's
it's very selfish and it's very bad. That's a whole nother problem in itself to tackle. But the issue is for those of us who are responsible and want to be responsible and just don't know how. This is what we're talking about today. One, do not mess up your children's lives if you're not responsible and you're just gonna dig a hole and put them in that hole. That's very bad. But for those of us who are trying to be responsible, take some notes from what we're going over today. And
your credit can be fixed regardless. It's not like you mess your credit up and that's it. You can fix it. So that's what we need to do, the responsible thing, and fix our credit and not mess with the kids.
Yeah. So one of the things too is, if you are going, like a lot of us, for a while there, I was guilty of this. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna hold my hands up for this. For a while there, even though we know, okay, if you get a job, make sure you get at least have a 401k. Don't ignore it, people. Okay. So you do that. Or if you establish a little account, make sure that you establish a beneficiary for the account, with your children. Make sure you put them on. For a long time, I didn't do that for a while. And I was like, wait, what am I doing? Make sure you have a beneficiary on the account. David, do you have a comment on that?
That is absolutely a must. If you don't have a beneficiary, it ends up in probate again. You're causing something. All right, nobody's planning on dying. It's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So prepare.
Hey, David.
Hey, Kim, how are you?
Okay, sorry to cut in, guys.
Hey.
So yeah, definitely having a beneficiary, just like on a life insurance policy or anything else, you need to know where the money is going to go. God forbid something were to happen to you. Even if you didn't die, let's just say you became so ill that you need a power of attorney or something like that. Everything needs to fall in place legally. Not because that's my mama. Nope, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think a simple trick for everyone who wants to start this journey of generational wealth. Be honest with your present situation, right? Create a simple budget. See where you're throwing away money. You'll be shocked.
Oh yeah.
David, you preaching to me right now, because, brother, man, I was wasting it like it was my cousin. You know, it was like here, cousin, here's a, I was giving it away, and it was no, I wasn't reaping the benefits from.
And when we're wasting the money, you don't really see it as wasting. You don't see yourself blowing $200 over some simple. Because when I add up my coffee drinking, plus my eating out, trust me, it's a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
Of money.
Reese, you're right. It's not wasting, because it was a pleasure. I can say that I can, because of where I am in life. Some people can waste it, but the thing is that it's like the athlete, right? Who goes and he gets all the money. I'm the same. I feel like just because I'm not multi-millions, I'm in the same boat as the athlete, because I'm blowing it, even though I'm not blowing it all the way up there like they are, but I'm blowing it on the ground floor. And it's like, oh man, I need to really reevaluate my space. And that's what, David, I'm telling you, that's what, when you were telling me a few minutes ago, that's exactly what was happening from the time this pandemic started in March of last year.
I think it's a wake-up call.
I'm thankful to God that I made the adjustment when I did, because I was able to catch some good stocks.
Listen, I think this pandemic is a wake-up call.
Yes.
And to teach us.
Yeah.
Because if anybody comes out of this and don't learn nothing or learn anything from this, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This has been a wake-up call for a lot of us to
That's one. But, we start with the budget. I think number two, whatever you're thinking about doing, whether it's a business, whether you're a chef, you're house cleaning, whatever it is, a truck driver, create a business. Just do it. Risk it. Risk it for a little bit. That dream, don't die with the dream in you.
Yeah.
Do not do that. It'll be worth a whole lot more. Right now, believe it or not, a lot of people are getting into the trucking industry, and
they are. Everybody's buying trucks.
Really cheap to get in.
Really? You mean like the big wheel
18-wheelers?
Yep.
18-wheelers.
Wow.
There's a lot of financing available. Right now, interest rates are ridiculously low. It's the best time to get in.
Houses are selling like crazy.
Yes, but a lot of ladies now are. One lady just bought her second truck, and a lot of people are buying this trucking company stuff. It's really good.
And to the listeners too, I want to say this to you all, because I think it's important that you know that what David was just saying is create a business, and I can say that I've been creating small businesses as an artist, as an entrepreneur, for being an artist, and as I own my own barbecue business. And I also own my own teaching suite, Know the Ledge Academy. You have to be able to look at what you are good at and what you love doing. You can teach. You can go online and you can go to teachable.com or any of these online suites, and you can create courses in knitting scarves and showing people how to knit scarves. And if you're excited about knitting scarves and hats, there's an audience out there for people who just want to learn or just want to be engaged like that. So teachable.com is a platform. Damn, I might as well giving them credit, but that's where I'm at. And that's and I don't get the thing is that if you have something that you're really good at, or you think that it's a hobby, you can be making passive income every month. I mean, it's people making $100 a month, or maybe not $100, but you might make $500 or $600. Some people making 1,000, some people making 10, some people making. There's this woman, her name is Danielle Leslie. I kid you not. I paid for it, paid to learn how to create courses from scratch because I went in trying to think, because I'm this professional at Syracuse University and I do this stuff, I teach, I can do this stuff. I ordered this thing and I would have failed hard had I not taken the risk and said, you know what? I'm gonna park my money and learn from this woman. I learned if I didn't do that and learn the blueprint that she had put out, I would have wasted much more money. So the good thing about this, like I said, this pandemic is giving you time. You're able to catch things because you're thinking more. You're not busy running here, running there, and not having time to really analyze. And I analyzed this moment and said, I put this money here and I was about to blow it. And it's a good thing I put it in a week or 2 weeks early. And then I said, let me look at this woman because her ads were coming up a lot on Facebook and Instagram. And I said, let me check this Black woman out. And she's the real deal. Let me tell you, she started in 2016. She got laid off her job, but she was already working for Udemy or something like that, the course creators. And so she teaches people how to create courses from scratch. She went from a $10,000 platform to multi-million dollars in 4 years. Just teaching people how to create courses from scratch.
What's her name?
So
what's
you
her
can
name?
do it. Her name is Danielle Leslie. Danielle Leslie is her name. I mean, you're gonna pay.
It amazes me.
You're gonna pay what you weigh, and she has where you can pay one time. You can do payment plan. I did a payment plan. I just pay payment plan. I'm in her suite. She give you all kind of templates, and her team is very helpful. You have. If you're building your course, you can put your information in her private suite for people who pay. You get all the coaching that you need in order to build a course. So I have Know the Ledge Academy, and I have 4 people that I'm training how to do this kind of stuff. So that way they're not wasting their skill sets on branding and athletics. And I have one guy, he's a fashion guy. He's a model, a runway model. His name is Morgan Striggles. He's going to be doing fashion. So these are the type of things that is available to you. You just have to you have to believe in yourself, have confidence that you can do it. You can do it. Trust me.
That's right.
It takes one time to run it and record it and watch yourself, and you'll be surprised, like, wow, that wasn't so bad. I'm just leaving that there.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's great.
I heard David and I said,
love it.
Now my battery is only 4%. I wanted to say I have my battery on my computer is 4%. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come and share and meet David. I've seen Brother Anthony and see Reese, my girl, and Carol, my ladies in the house. Kimberly, how you doing? I didn't meet you yet, but maybe next time. I know
I'm always
come
coming
through.
On the late scene.
I just want to say I love you all, and y'all be safe and continue to wear those masks. And I look forward to seeing you again. All right?
Yes.
Blessings.
Before you go, just let everybody know where they can find you again. I want you to just mention the Know the Ledge Academy.
Yep. Know the Ledge Academy. You can actually find from this link when they post this page. It'll be in the credits, so you can do that. You can find me on Facebook at Cedric Bolton, or Instagram is my Instagram page is at SaidBoogie357 at SaidBoogie357.
And I usually, make sure that we have all that information on our page as well, so people can find you guys by just clicking on you, whether it's up on our YouTube page or Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. We put all your information there because we value you, all of you that came on and shared with us today. So, and I think you have, if you can just mention before you go, you had some training recently and you have more coming up, right?
Yes, I had a webinar on stock market investing, and I have a course coming up in February. If you go online, and look up Cedric Bolton. You won't find it because it's embedded in Teachable. If you find my Facebook page, it's on my Facebook page, or it's on the YouTube page here. Or you can look up Cedric Bolton at Syracuse University, and just email me there, and I'll send you information to where you can link up to either be in a course or be at another webinar. But thank you again for allowing me to plug.
Awesome.
Be part of this here.
Of course, that's what we're here for. Plug away. Thanks, Cedric. Oh, there he goes. So You know, and whenever you gentlemen have to leave, let us know. But you know, we will talk to you forever because that's what we want to do. We want
Well, something
to
that I do want to say that hasn't really been mentioned yet is the word sacrifice.
yes.
So
Oh
when it comes
yes.
to leaving things behind, generational wealth, a lot of it comes down to sacrifice. One of my
Mm-hmm.
good friends told me, and I'm gonna talk about this on a broad scale. I'm gonna talk to Black people in general, because this will be so revolutionary if we realize the sacrifice you make, how much of an impact it will have on us as a people. If my friends like to say that if we as a people today, it's going to take one generation, it's going to take one of our generations as a whole to sacrifice themselves and the time and the energy into this building so we can kind of stop generational trauma. Because we want to talk about generational wealth, we're still dealing with generational trauma, so we gotta stop a lot of bleeding in a lot of areas at the same time while we're still trying to build up. So we still have so many people dealing with generational trauma and baggage from family from years ago. Yeah. So I think it's going to take one generation to just go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to be the generation to sacrifice. We're going to start accumulating generational wealth. We're going to start businesses. We're going to start doing this. If one generation as a whole had this mentality, that would stop so much, and that would start accumulating so much just us as a people.
Yeah. You're so right. And it goes back to where we were just chatting before, Brother Anthony. It goes back as a people, but we all have to take the time to implement a strategy, right? Because it's not just gonna pop out your brain or something. Sit down, whatever that is, like we were talking about. If you want to go into trucking, if you want to teach, if you want to this, it's just something that you're thinking of doing, something you're good at. But take the time to come up with some sort of strategy and start off simply. If that's all
right.
you do, start
And
off.
I would use myself as an example during this pandemic. As Cedric was just saying, find something you're passionate about, you can teach it. That's how I started my program for the youth. People know I like to fish. People know I like to charcoal grill and cook. They know I'm a handyman. They know I'm a cowboy. So I'm saying, you know what? I can actually turn this into a business. So I decided to turn that into an LLC, Useful Hands Paychecks, where I teach young men over a 2-day day camp how to do different life skills. So I turned in my passion and things I like to do into a business, into an LLC. And like David said, I can put my children on my LLC. So if something was to ever happen to me, my LLC will be under my children, and they can use that and utilize that to live off of or kind of keep the business going. My children's book, I wrote a children's book. It's going to be one of many more. If something were to happen to me, and I can leave my children on the beneficiaries of this, because this is a business, they can continue selling these children's books and using it as income. That's just one small way, right? That's another small way to kind of leave behind wealth, or a way to accumulate wealth, at least.
Exactly. But you're saying it's a small way, but it's actually massive, because it's not only for you and your children, but what you're doing with other people's children, you're teaching them, right? Early. So they're learning these life skills and lessons themselves. So they're now also learning how to build generational wealth for their own families. So it's like it's come full circle what you're doing. So I think it's grand what you're doing, not just small. And I really appreciate that. Yeah. I wanted to mention something. You know, there's a point that I saw somewhere too. It says, how many generations, right, does it take to build wealth? What do you guys think?
One. Like I said, it takes one generation. It takes, like I said, I spoke about generation as a whole, like every Black person in one generation. But just think about your generation in your own family. Like me, I'm 34 years old, and I'm looking at my parents, my grandparents. I look at my kids, and my kids. I look at myself. I'm right in the middle, kind of. I said I could be the generation. I could start these businesses, influence my cousins to do the same. The generation of my family. So I'm talking about my cousins. Everybody's in my generation and within my family. If we all come together and say, you know what, we want this family, our family name, our legacy as a family, we want to go ahead and start improving. We can all decide to do these things. Let's all write a book. Let's all start an LLC, find whatever our niche is, and that's gonna be something we can pass down to our children, teach them what to do with it, And as a whole family, that's how you bring the whole family up.
And
that's
how
what it
many
takes. One generation.
does it take to lose wealth?
Oh, how many? One. Two.
Yeah.
So the phrase, the Chinese have this proverbs, right, that says rags to rags in 3 generations. So the first generation makes the money. The second generation spends the money. Third generation never sees any of it.
That's why it's important to educate. That's why we were saying earlier. And so it's cool if I could be able to accumulate $1 million, $1 trillion to pass down to my children, but if they don't know what to do with it or how to make it work and pass it down, they're gonna blow it. They're gonna be the generation. They're gonna be the generation to just end the whole legacy. They're gonna end it all.
That's true.
But you can stipulate that when they reach 18, they get certain amount of money. When they reach,
talking about Reese, so then they get 25 and they just blow it. That's what we're talking about.
But after they blow it, that. Well,
this is one of the reasons why they need to have like little trust funds where they can't get into that money until a certain age. Most white people usually do that.
That's one way of monitoring and not making sure that they don't blow it. Because you can't
make sure they don't blow it, because as soon as they get to the age where they can get it, it's gone, right? So the idea, what we're talking about, is how to educate. So we're making sure that once they do get to it, whether they get to it at age 50, they don't.
All right, how do we educate them?
Right.
What do we tell these youngsters when you get your money, your trust fund money? Okay. How do you, because they're trust fund babies, what are you going to tell them? How are you going to tell them not to blow it?
So David, what you got to say about
David, what would you say?
Whatever process you use to create that wealth, include the kids you're going to be passing it on to, so it means something to them, so they don't just disseminate it as soon as they get it.
Exactly. So listen here, do you know how hard your ancestors work for this money? Huh? Do you know how hard? So you better not blow it, Buster.
You don't want that. You want them to appreciate it on their own, to have the honor to say, you know what? Come hell or high water, this is not going under.
Yeah, you could tell them you're blue in the face. We all know how kids are. You tell them stuff till they're blue in the face. They don't care.
Well, you got to put a stipulation on it. You let them know at the age of whatever, or if you don't whatever, you're not getting this money. I'm just letting you know. So you got to do this, you got to do that. Whatever you got to do to make sure that you spend this money right, because you're not going to get this money right away. We need to interview
some trust fund babies and ask them how they maintain their money, how they keep their money so long.
I would also say this too, because it's one thing to just tell for them to know that when I get 18, I'm going to have this fortune just waiting for me. And I think during that time, not give them anything and wait till they turn 18 and they'll be like a raging bull. As soon as they get the money, they're gonna just go crazy.
Yeah.
Until then, they should start early practicing different things.
Yeah.
You can
give them all kind of things.
You can get checking accounts for kids right now. And they can start practicing how to build up the credit. They got to start practicing and getting used to how to finance or how to manage money.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't just say just have this money and just when you get to that age, you're gonna know you're just gonna have to use it and do what you do with it. I would say until then, have them practicing. So when they do finally get the money, they'll be accustomed to how to manage it.
Manage it.
And then also too, don't give it to them all at one time. Give it to them in spurts, like a certain amount of money. When Caucasians do those things,
mommy, I know you got that money. Give me my money.
Listen, when Caucasians do those things and stuff, I'm just telling you, most of them, when they're giving out their money, they don't give the money all at one time. They give it in spurts. I have a friend, which is a good girlfriend. She's a Caucasian girl. This woman is 40-something years old, and right now, she can't get her trust money, and she wanted to go and get things and everything. You know how much money she can go in there and get? And she have a bigger trust fund, 10 to 15,000. And she can't come back there in another year or two or whatever. Her father asked her, what do you need? This is not for that, for you to go just take it and go whatever. You know when she took the 10 and 15,000 to go do her body. So her father says, see, this is what I'm talking about. That's just why you're not going back in there to another 3-4 years from now. So you have to be able to give it to them in spurts. Because if you give them all of the money at one time, of course they're going to blow it.
And I would like to say this before I
This
leave here, because I
generation
do
now,
have.
if they're
I
not
would like to.
educated, it's done.
I
Go
would like
ahead,
to say
Brother
this
Anderson.
before I leave here, because I do have to leave right now. But I want to say this before I leave. I really, really want to thank Carol and Richie for using the platform to highlight this subject, because this is a very, very critical subject for us as a people. For just us as a people, this is very, very important. This is a great way to kind of get us ahead as a people, not just for our families, but as a people. So I want to thank you guys for using your platform to highlight this topic. And I want to thank you for having me be a part.
And real quick before you leave, where can we find your book for if we wanted to purchase?
The book is called I Can't Wait to Be a Man, and you can find it on ican'twaittobeaman.com. Without the exclamation mark. I can't wait to be a man.com. It's just full of principles and behaviors that little boys can practice on their journey to manhood. So it talks about chivalry, taking care of your responsibilities, being a positive example for your younger siblings, just various behaviors they can start practicing right now to excite them, to get them accustomed to practicing things they can do to make themselves be the best man they can be. And it's called I Can't Wait to Be a Man.
That's cool.
Yes.
And also,
thank you, Brother Anthony.
Program that you have for young men.
Yes, Useful Hands PHX. That's a program here I have in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's a 2-day program where over the course of 2 days, they learn 4 different life skills. They learn how to use a charcoal grill. They learn how to fish. They learn how to work with wood. So we make things out of woodwork. And we also learn auto care. So over 4 days, they learn 2 different life skills each day. And that's my business I came up with during the pandemic. Useful Hands PHX. And usefulhandspHX.com.
Okay, cool. We'll see you. We'll see you one of these days in Arizona when I come out there for that therapy.
Absolutely. I still got to get you on a horse. I got to get you on a horse.
Ranch.
Horse ranch.
Let's do it. You guys take
care. Thanks, Brother Anthony.
Take
care.
Thank you.
So David, also, I wanted to just mention another thing is, generational wealth is not just about money, right? I want to tell our listeners and everything, and I'll let you get a chance to jump into, David, is it's also about just plain old educating, because that's where it starts, right? And I can't say it enough, and I can't stress it enough. And it could be education about what are we going through right now? We're going through the pandemic, right? So everything affects finances and how you live your life. Listen, if you're not around years from now, you could have money till you're blue in the face. You're not around to spend the money, or your kids are not around to spend it. So, one of the things that I've done also is sit down with my kid and teach the kids about what is the pandemic, what does it mean? And I'm just talking about simple things. What does it mean? What are the safety precautions that you need? So when they learn these things, you can also teach them about other things, because what you're doing is you're training your kids. It's not just about finances, but you're training them and teaching them, informing them all along. So by the time you need to teach them about money, they're used to being taught. So they'll probably listen. They'll be more receptive because you're teaching them all the time. I'll sit her down in a minute and show her some videos on safety tips and this and that. And then I'm like, okay, so what questions do you have? What do you think you should be doing? So they can learn how to be strategic thinkers themselves. When you go outside, not to do this, not to do that, not to do that. I think it's all a part of it.
Absolutely. 100% of that. I think too, dreaming with your kids.
Yes.
Coming up with a goal, a plan. We could do this. What do you guys think? Like bouncing ideas off of them so they feel included. They will be more willing to participate in anything else.
Yes.
If you come up, this is for listeners too. If you come up with a business plan, run it by your kids. Like, what do you guys think about this? Help you come up with a business name. Like little things, so they feel like they're part of it. So for when that day becomes theirs, they have a vested interest somehow.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I kind of, I had, my kid actually came up, she created the concept of my company, and she created my company name, believe it or not, and my company tagline. She created it. I didn't. and she'll tell me this and tell, but I didn't think of it from that perspective, David. So I like that you said that maybe one day if she has to, take this over, she's already been a part of it. I didn't think of that. I just thought at the time I was just forcing her to help me out.
Did you pay her?
Oh yeah, she made sure she got paid. She did.
So listeners, I would like to, if possible, normalize a few things, right? Like we know, a lot of people know what it's like to be broke, what it's like to have money, right? We got that down packed. All right, let's start normalizing what it's like to, make a millionaire mean nothing, right? It really isn't. And that's all wealth included, whether it's your home, cars, stocks, everything, your whole portfolio add to $1 million. It sounds like a lot, but it's so little. It's so little.
Yeah.
But we can do stuff like that. Another thing to be addressed too, especially in the Black and Brown community, I think working together in honor, right?
That's a different show.
Yeah. Take a page out of two, the way the Jewish people work. That's why they're the wealthiest on the planet.
Yeah.
They work together. They honor each other. They make sure, if I know a guy who can do it, I'm not going to ask him to do it for free or for less. I would pay him what it's worth.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
If Carol had a business and I said, Carol, because I know you, hook me up.
Yeah.
One, I'm devaluing you.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And how am I really supporting you?
Yes. Please talk about that.
Preach it, David.
That's a whole nother show. I'm like Reese now. That's a whole nother show.
We should address that as an entirely different show.
It's true. It's true.
And I'll tell you, every single Black and Brown entrepreneur that I know have said the same thing. They've had the same issue, same concern, same complaint.
Yes.
So when you do start your business and somebody asks for you for a discount, just tell them no.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Exactly.
Everybody wants a discount, and then you're spending your time, being devalued because you're not getting paid for your services.
Or they don't here's the thing. Not only that discount, they think we call with friends.
Right.
Right. That too. And
I'm not supposed to be charging you. Yeah.
Right. And that in the Black and Browns, they like to ask us for discounts.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Nobody goes to anybody else and asks them to, can you give is that what that's how much it is? Oh, no, they don't do that. They do it with us and everything. So don't do that. No, they won't.
Price, but once you're Black and Brown, oh, you're my friend, you can hook me up. But they won't
hook up
what the service is worth or the product is worth, but they'll go somewhere else and pay.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we
David, run them away when they ask for a discount.
Don't get the discount. Just don't. If you can't pay you your fare, they can give this somebody else. It's fine. It's not your job to devalue yourself.
Right.
One person found out they got a discount, everybody else wants a discount.
What?
That's right. That's right.
Or if somebody know that this is David's price, and David was not supposed to tell Kim that he got that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
I want David's price.
Right.
That's the one thing. I'm so glad that I'm not like that. By being a business owner, I'm going to support business. I have never gone to anybody's business, and I'm honestly telling you the truth. I've never gone to any Black and Brown business and asked them for a discount. If they say, Kim, because I know you may give you a discount, me say I appreciate it, thank you very much. But to ask them, say, hook me up, right? Y'all hook me up, y'all do that. I would never do that because you cannot come to me and ask me to do that. Let me offer you. I'm gonna say, I'll give you a nice little discount and everything. But if you come to me and beg me and say, I'm gonna tell you no, because I don't have no problem saying no. So you already done no.
You can't tell me no when me ask you for no discount.
A
full price y'all pay. I don't know what y'all talk about.
You can really get around that, especially starting a new business. If you want to create a small flyer or something and say between this date and this date is 20% off friends and family.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the only time.
Right, exactly, David. And come up with something like that if you want to, say, let them know and say, what, friends and family is coming up and I'm
Right.
offering 20 or 25% off. So,
Right.
you know,
If
you
you
can
want
get
the
your friends and
discount, you
family
gotta
come.
wait on
That sounds better. I like that, David.
Parameters around it. That's great. That's
David, I
great.
like that. I'm going to put that down because I think I'm going to offer that in March. That's a great
David,
idea.
you should write a book because you got some good things, man.
Listen,
You
let me
should
tell
write
you
a
about
book.
David. Let
And
me
I
tell you about
promise,
David.
we will pay full price.
Here, let me tell you about David. David is awesome. David is just cool and collected and professional. I'm just so glad that I reached out to him, not knowing that David was the
Same David
was the
you
right
interviewed.
person. Right.
You look at that. You just got a testimonial, David.
He's awesome. He really is. He's good.
Yes.
The realtor, David, I have to put you out there like that. That I'm dealing with, that's helping me and everything like that. When I told her all about you and I was explaining to all the things that you're doing, she was like, "Oh my God," because somebody she has helping her clients for getting homes, and she sells homes and everything really, really good and everything. She actually took. Let me call you back, please. She said to me, that guy I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't understand. Like, this is awesome that you're getting this kind of, service and everything like that. And he sounds like he knows what he's doing. Kim, can I get his number? Because I got a lot of clients that want to buy houses. They really have the money to do this, but they credit need to be sought out. And the girl that I have is just taking their money and not doing anything. I said, I'll talk to David and I'm going to pass that number on. Let me talk to David and tell you.
David
So
down,
this, she just,
down to we need to bring him down to Broward and have like a seminar with him down here.
That girl is taking all those people money and they're not doing anything. And these people really actually are ready to buy a home. They actually have money saved up and everything, but their credit is the problem. That's where they're stuck right there.
Yeah.
So David, if I possibly can, her name is Nicole Pierre. I was going to pass her information and everything, but I told her I was going to call you because I had to call you anyway. So I told her I was going to call you and find out and just let you know so you'll kind of get the heads up and everything like that. But they're really upset and she really wants to let go of the other girl. She's stagnant right now. So I was like,
Thank you so much.
Oh, most definitely. She sat here and I just explained to her.
You are endorsed by Let's Connect.
Also, maybe you can.
He's awesome, man.
Yes.
He have a plan for me, and I'm going. And nobody, since I've had everybody try to help me and everything like that. Now I can understand my plan and my credit.
David, trust me, she is a complainer. So if she happy with you, believe me.
So
and you want to
also do a testimonial for us, right? You'll write us a testimonial about the show, and we can tell everybody that David liked.
What is the truth? I have to let people know you're not easy to please. And David pleases you, trust me.
Up my request for a testimonial.
Girl, yeah,
we know David. You know David gonna do that. David gonna do that anyway. We're getting shout out to. Can we give our shouts out to David, please, and everything?
Yes,
we're trying
to David's day.
People can, exactly. This is David's day. Exactly.
David's day.
And listen, and then when I love something, I like to talk about it. So my mouth is already big and everything like that. So I love to talk about it. But real talk, that he really is. This is the first time understanding my credit and understanding exactly what I'm supposed to do and everything. I feel more comfortable now since I talked to David, and David just had me. I just feel like I'm on track. I know what I need to do. I know my next step and everything. And I'm just saying he's very easy to work with. He knows his stuff. He definitely knows his stuff. And out of all these years that I've been dealing with people, he's the only person that actually really, it made sense. And I can understand exactly what he was going through everything with me. So David, thank you so very much. I'm looking so forward for all the stuff and everything that we're doing and all that. I can't wait to finish up what we're doing and all that. So I'm looking so forward. So yes.
I know David wanted to finish up. Go ahead, David.
Just to piggyback off of that real quickly, everybody who's listening, because I do like to include my audience.
Yes, wonderful.
That was an awesome testimonial that you just got for creditguys.com. And this is for David Ramnarine. And that was an amazing testimonial. So if you are wondering if this stuff is true or not, if you still have questions after hearing everything that he shared with us, then
call me.
I don't know why you would have questions, because he is knowledgeable. He presented the information in that knowledgeable manner. I was taking notes, but if you still have questions, you just got an amazing testimonial right there. And his information is going to be all over our sites. So you make sure you reach out to David for any assistance you need with your credit and everything else, and he will help you.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Add on to that, when you do contact us, it's free for us to even look at it and let you know exactly where you are. And I think everyone should do that. If you're even guessing if your credit score is any good, contact us. We'll do a free consultation, show you where you're at, and then come up with a game plan, just like Kim was saying, step by step, how to improve and get you to where you want.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Excellent.
He's definitely the man.
We're gonna post your information.
$1 until you know exactly what the game plan.
And we're gonna get him in Broward, so we're gonna get him here to do a workshop.
Yeah, we need to snatch David from Orlando.
Yes.
And get him to Broward. Get him down here. That's a great idea, Reese. I like that.
Maybe
I like that.
Yeah, there you go. David can maybe do a presentation there at your work bar.
Yeah, we're gonna talk, David.
Yeah, I love that.
We're gonna talk.
Andrea, I like that idea. I'll support you in whatever.
And if you guys need a voiceover person to do the commercial, to talk about credit wise and talk about the work bar event that you're going to have with David, you let me know.
Yes. You need to come. You need to fly in for this one. Yeah, because we're going to make this nice. Andrea, I'm with you. I got your back on that. Support.
All right, cool.
Most definitely.
So we'll talk later on that. So
I want to round that out a little bit real quickly by just talking about reminding everybody there are multiple ways that you can address generational wealth, because as Black and brown people, we sometimes, like we talked about before and Brother Anthony was mentioning, we sometimes think that we don't know is harder than it is, but it's not that difficult. We just have to take the time to listen when programs like this and platforms like this are giving you information. Take notes. It's not that difficult, and ask an expert. If you're not sure, call up someone like David and you find out some of the things that you can do to secure that for your children. But one of the things as parents that I want to mention is if you can afford it, one thing you can do is pay for your children's education. Do not leave them and, to have an insurmountable amount of student loans that they're going to be stressing with for their entire lives or whatever, and it takes them forever to pay it off. That's one of the ways to ensure or try to ensure generational wealth for your children. Don't leave them all this massive amounts of debt. So you can pay for their education or pay for your own education, so you're not passing that on to your kids.
Exactly.
And of course, parents have to make sure that they're teaching their children, giving them financial guidance. A lot of us don't really know how to do all of that, but you seek help from people like David, that has that financial guidance that he can give you on what to do. And we keep on stressing that there are people available to you. Take the resources, like he just said, it is free. He will consult with you and do that initially and let you know what you need to do and take it from there and guide you through the entire. I'm not saying his services are all free, but
no, right.
And he's not giving a discount. He's not giving anybody any discount.
No. But we're not gonna. When that come around, we're not gonna say that anyway and everything. If they want to attend and everything like that,
yes,
we'll get that sorted out and everything. Kind of no discount business are going over here.
Right.
You have to pay. You pay what you pay for what you get. You get good service. You get. You pay good money. You have bad service, then you get. You get. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But he's an expert and he knows what he's saying. And like I said, with all the people, I know I keep saying that, but all the people, because people don't understand the amount of people that helped me throughout my time with my credit, nothing going for me. You understand? And the first time I can really understand, and look how I'm always confused. Andrea, don't you about to say one word and everything. Look how me always confused, and no one time me not confused. So how that happen?
That's why I don't like David enough, because she's not coming. David, she's not coming to me and asking me, but David said this, and I don't understand. What does that mean? That means you're doing a great.
She goes to David instead.
I know.
I'm on the street, man. Listen, David got me straight. That's all we can tell you. When David comes straight,
on you.
All out talk and everything. David just come out straight, tell me exactly what. this and that. And when I call him, I said, David, if I'm looking confused about something, he just go back over just calmly and coolly and just, I just tell him, I said, okay, David, let me just write the okay. That's
just like how he is on the show. Calm,
yeah, man.
cool,
Same so.
Yes.
That's it.
But we appreciate you.
Yeah, man, real talk.
So
I would make one recommendation to all the listeners. There's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yes. I'm going to get that.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yep.
Yes, that was in my Forex meeting. Mm-hmm. It's a Chinese guy. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes, that's him.
That
is actually on my list.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good book too about
that is the cheapest form of education right there.
Yeah,
okay.
He's telling the truth. My Forex group that I was in, David, that's exactly what the top Forex guys who's making all these millions and everything, that's exactly, you see David knowing stuff? That's exactly the book that they told everybody to go and get. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's why I knew what it was. Yeah.
Oh, $12 for it on Amazon. Okay.
Yeah. These guys are real millionaires, these guys. We're talking about big wigs in the Forex thing.
So we have a listener asking as well whether you do, David, whether you do retirement counseling.
I do.
Okay, well, there you have it, people. He does retirement counseling, because
love it.
I know that they're asking about what if you're like a few years, let's say 8 years or something from retirement, like what can you do? And so all of our listeners, if you're listening, David does do retirement counseling. You can reach out to him and his company, and they will let you know exactly what you need to do.
Correct. Yeah, I've done that for almost 20 years now.
Wow, look at that.
Okay.
We're on financial freedom now that we met David.
Let me tell you, we don't need no other credit person in our business. He is our in-house credit advisor.
No other credit, nobody.
Nobody
else. Nobody credit.
A couple more clients, David. So yes, people, make sure you reach out to him. The answer is yes. He just answered the question. So reach out to him. He can give you the guidance that you need, help you set up the plan of, wherever you are in the process, how far away are you from retirement or whatever, can just help you set something up to where it makes sense. Because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to talk about, starting a business or need help understanding LLCs, S-corp, stuff like that, reach out to us. We'll, go over some basics with you. Help you with the guidelines on certain things. We'll talk about taxes and your responsibilities on some stuff, so you don't get caught up into the trap of not paying taxes.
Then maybe you can come back tax time, in the tax season, in the midst of the taxes, to talk about that too for the businesses too, because we kind of know about personal, but taxes for the business, the only thing I know about taxes for the business is Schedule C. But I know there are not all companies file on, what I'm saying? So, that would be a great topic to talk about during the tax time, tax season.
Yeah, love it.
Just a basic, profit loss statement. But all the other stuff, your mileage, like you were talking about, getting $5 Starbucks every day, that could be written off. It's okay to spend money. If you're working hard for it, spend your money, enjoy your life, but
work hard and play harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I think also I want to reach out to you as well on that, David, because I could use some help in that department myself.
Mm-hmm.
But a listener is asking about like government retirement. I don't know what the requirements are. I don't know if you know anything about that, but they work for the government.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to set up some sort of retirement. But I would imagine that's something that maybe if they reach out to you, you can talk to them about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we actually had another listener, actually the owner, said she would love to hear about business taxes.
Oh, awesome.
Because she has multiple businesses, so that would be great. So we definitely have to bring you back again.
Yeah.
See, you can't get rid of us, David.
Well, I enjoy being on this. I'm glad to help. Every business, and anybody who wants to start a business, every business I ever started, it was based around helping somebody, right? If you watch any Shark Tank or anything, solve a problem, you'll make money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true.
If you start a business to make money, you'll be chasing money. You wouldn't make money.
No.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do something
And that makes sense.
that helps people.
Yeah.
That
So,
really makes sense.
one of the last things I wanted to mention too, in what we were talking about of how you can do the generational wealth, is just making sure that you are setting up a vehicle, you know, to save for your children. You know, so we talked about the education, we talked about, you know, not leaving them in debt and leaving them with student loans and, you know, all of that stuff. And we talked about just teaching them financial guidance, but also making sure that you're setting up a vehicle to save for them, because they don't necessarily know about this, and start early. You know, set up some kind of vehicle. And as we talked about before, you don't have to be wealthy, you know, to start this. Whatever you have, you know, just put something in and start with that discipline of putting, if it's $5, $1, start with the discipline of putting something in and teaching the children that, hey, look, it's important. You know, we're doing this. Let them know that this is happening so that they learn those fundamentals themselves, right?
That's such a huge point. Just start. Just start.
Yeah. Yep, that's the whole. Yep, you're right.
Start. And a lot of times well, everybody in general, but us in the Black and brown communities, we forget. Like you and I were talking about, Reese, you know, you love Starbucks and you'll go in and you spend your $5, and we're thinking, oh yeah, not to say you should deprive yourself, but you know, get your Starbucks. But then again, you have to think, right? Do I really need Starbucks? Would it be better? Because when you multiply that, you know, by every day.
Remember, we went through that.
We
remember, and when we looked at see how much money you spend, I was like, "What
on a cup of Starbucks?
1 cup of coffee."
Yes, that money could be invested and could multiply so many times, and you just that.
Yeah, it's true.
So this is
because Starbucks. I'm sorry, David.
If you're budgeting, I do this with a lot of my clients. Every month, they got to pull their bank statement and they color code it, you know, for necessities, and then money you just spend like Starbucks and shopping or whatever. And if they're outside of where they need to be, next month they can only go halfway with it. So if they scheduled maybe $200 a month for Starbucks and shopping and whatever else they wanted to do, if they went over it, even by $1, next month it's only 100.
Remember, we did a show the other day, and it came up some suggestion about the envelope system.
Yep, you do that too.
Yeah, that you put $10 if I'm going to Walmart, and I only put $10 in. That's all we can spend. Don't bring no cards or anything like that.
Yep.
I never heard of that, and that's a good way too.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing too. That's Andres, you brought that up. I'm on this other group called Dream Catchers Living Rich Budgetista. She's on Facebook. So somebody started a $5 challenge when you're talking about the envelopes. So they did the $5 challenge. You can either do $5 or $10 or $20 challenge. And just every time you get change from out of 20, if you get $5, you just put it aside or whatever. And it actually worked because I saved up out of the $5 challenge. I tried it. I did $200. So it really does help. Yeah, I never told you that. Oh, no. Yeah, man. Now I'm on a $20 challenge right now, mama.
So what you doing? You just the change?
Yes, because when my clients give me tips, you know, they give me $20 sometimes they give me a $10, sometimes they give me $5. We just put it in an envelope and everything, a separate envelope. And that's how I just don't look at it. The other day I got the $20. I have about 6 20s. These are different tips that comes in here, you know, and everything. But when I get change or something, I just take the change and put it inside one of the, you know, things there in the envelopes. Yeah, it works. It really does work. So when you're saying that, I love that other group because it's very, you know, I just had to bring that up.
Awesome.
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Excellent. So I don't know, those are some of the main takeaways that I wanted us to go over today. And I think we talked about a lot today, and just making sure, you know, whatever strategy that we're using, whether it's, you know, we're just teaching the kids, whether we're putting them as authorized users on the account, whether we're establishing a custodial account for them, or like you talked about your trust fund and making sure that you're doling out the money in doses or whatever.
Yes.
Whatever strategy that you are using, just making sure that you're passing down the financial know-how to kids, your children. That is, to me, the underlying pass down the information. You're educating the younger ones, because unless they're educating, I don't care what you do. If you're only giving them $10 a month or whatever, at some point they're going to blow the money. And then they don't have the knowledge to then teach their children as well. And it, it just spirals, right? So I think that's, for me, that's the takeaway. And like I said, educating them, maybe not just about finances, but other things as well that will affect their lives. And it does teach them, how to learn responsibly, right?
Real quick before I forget, David, you said something when I was saying that I tell my kid put 50% away and use 50. What was that formula you said again?
Oh, invest.
I didn't get to write it down.
Yeah, invest 50, save 30, spend.
So you said invest 30,
invest
right?
30, yeah.
Invest 30, save 50, spend 20.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what okay.
I like to write, Reese. I write everything down.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Invest the 30, save the 20.
Yep.
Is that good, David, or no?
No.
And what to do with the $50? Oh, save
50, invest 30, and spend 20.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's percentages. So
that's percentage.
Percentage. Sorry. Yes. Percentage.
Like that.
It's hard for a lot of people to understand what 20% of their income looks like and how they could live off of it.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna try that.
Not that hard to get to once you try to get to it. Nobody's gonna get to it tomorrow.
Right.
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 It takes time, but as we said, it's planning, right? It's building a strategy. So that if at the end of the month you make $1,000, right? You say, all right, maybe, and 20% of that is what you're going to spend, use as spending money. Maybe try to, if we're using these formulas, and like David said, you're not going to get to it immediately, but you take your time,
right.
They try to save 50% of it, right? So we're saying 50% you'll save. So then, $500, I'm going to try to save $500. If you're working with this formula, work your way up to it. But you try to save $500, and then 30% of that $1,000, then invest that.
I should probably explain that a little bit. What the investing is, because people are like, all right, so $500, I can invest 300 of it. I'm saving 500 of it. That sounds off. So the 300 that you're saving, that you're investing, is going to go into things like books, seminars, coaching classes, stuff like that. The 500 you're saving for is for that business you're starting. That money that's going to pay down on that rental property, to pay for whatever equipment you might need to start.
Employees, equipment, all those, yeah.
So that
you have to go in there without
is in yourself, right? Because if you lose that other 50%, you're going to lose it more likely, right? On the first business, to be honest with everyone, you're going to lose a bunch of it, but that's how business works.
Yeah.
Right. So don't be afraid to lose. Once you have that knowledge, you're going to learn again. That's why you keep saving that 50%. So the first time you lose it because maybe you did something wrong, you learn from that, and then you change it again. But if you invest in that 30%, you get that right coaching, it's harder to lose that 50%. So that 30% of investing into you is going to multiply so much more than the 50% you're saving.
Oh, so the $30 the